Hey, welcome, Woke Warriors, to another episode of Woke Wars. And today we have our beautiful guest, Ian Robbins. Thank
That's
you for
right.
being
You
here, my
did it.
man.
Wow, wow,
Oh,
wow, wow.
Yep.
thanks for having me. It's great to be here, and we'll be right back.
True. Ian Robbins, the one and only, still not famous, the fantastic lead singer of the punk rock band Get Out, no relation. And yeah, we're happy to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
cool
so
to
much.
be here.
Thank you so much.
I've heard about this thing.
Have you?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
liked, subscribed?
I've
Drop a
liked,
comment down
subs-
below.
I've done all of the above.
Have you followed our sponsor of today's show?
Like, yo, shit, I
There's
have
a
to watch
sponsor?
this shit
Yes,
now before I
sponsor.
go be a guest, and I have to
I didn't watch it
at
at
least
all.
an entire
I am
episode.
completely unprepared.
So what did your publicist just allow you to come on this podcast all of a sudden?
Yeah, I guess that's how it went down. Went through the back channels. They said you got to be at this place, but at this time.
Nice. We like the boldness. Very
There you
punk
go.
rock of you.
Oh yeah, I mean,
No
getting
pun intended.
canceled would be the best thing that ever happened to our band. So we'll finally know who we are.
I know. The notorious.
And here we go. Let's get canceled. Here we go.
All right.
That's the objective today.
That's my objective.
you know?
Hit
always.
us
Get
with
you
your best
canceled
shot.
before the boom,
Yeah,
before the success.
Fat Mike from
Just to prove
NoFX
a
says
point.
you can't get canceled twice because they got canceled in their back. So
They got canceled?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
NoFX got canceled?
yeah, they
Since
got
when?
canceled in Vegas about 4 years ago
Oh, that's recent.
because I don't know. These are Fat Mike's words, not mine, or maybe Eric Melvin said it, the guitar player. But they said something. They were playing in Vegas, like where that shooting went down,
Oh.
Shit.
and they made I'm not gonna repeat it. They made a joke about that. Tasteless. They came out, apologized immediately after that. They knew it was in bad taste.
I immediately regret my decision.
It's a bad joke. What can you do?
Yeah. I mean,
Censor
The world
speech.
is full of them.
when you're up on a stage in a punk rock band, you just say shit, and that's like always how it's been. That's always how NoFX has been. That's what the culture is. You really don't mean anything, but now people like to remember
Well,
everything.
do you remember?
Yeah, but they want to
everything.
cut that evil by the root, you know?
Yeah, they remember everything. People are recording everything, so it's a little different. I mean,
Kind
Are
of, a
they?
kind of a cool subject
Are
for us to
they?
dissect a little bit today, huh? Cancellation, cancel culture. It's always a hot topic.
Again,
But anyways,
with the cancel culture. We should cancel this topic. No, just kidding.
why
Have
don't
you
you give
talked
us a
about
little
this before?
introduction, a little intro about yourself?
yeah. Tell us some more about Fat Mike.
Just so
the
our
cancellation.
beautiful
you know.
public knows
What's your...
who Ian Robbins is.
who is Ian?
well, I am a mere mortal, despite the appearance. You guys can see this. The
Highlander appearance.
Adonis-like physique. I've had a punk rock band since the 90s. I'm a lot older than I say I am on Tinder. And yeah, it's
Yeah, I said you look really good for your age, bro.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
conservative.
you. Yeah.
Said he was like early 70s.
Early mid 70s.
Mid-70s, there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, so I sing, I write songs, I do a lot of different styles of music, but punk rock is my true love.
I heard you're the mastermind behind all the lyrics for the band.
I'm responsible.
There
I'm
you
the
go.
one you want to come for with your pitchforks and your torches.
And,
Come for me.
But so that's your main style, but you don't have a master's in punk rock, do you?
I have a master's in jazz guitar performance.
Oh, can you actually get a master's in punk rock?
That was the
no.
joke.
Okay, because I mean,
But
I'm not
also-
from the music industry.
Not yet.
Not yet,
You
but maybe
know,
one day.
One
So-
day. I'm working on it.
Kind of cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe
Well, that
it's
would
like
be-
medicine, you know, like
Yeah.
you go through a general course and then you specialize in something. Music
Right.
would be kind of like the same thing. You go through a general course and then you can specialize in certain genres. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, the irony is that the point of punk rock is that you don't know what you're doing.
But I was about to
There you
say,
go.
yeah.
That's
That
how
would
it
be
was
the
created.
death. The death of punk rock is to actually have a post grad
Yeah.
degree that you could
Probably don't
study.
want to let that information get out. That's probably like pretty bad for the brand.
I recently watched the Elvis movie, and I was watching an interview with Austin Butler, the guy that the guy that
actor?
played Elvis, yeah, the actor, and he was talking about one of the songs that he did, and I don't remember exactly which song it was, but he said at some point it felt almost like the birth of punk rock.
Mm.
What he was doing on stage, singing and dancing.
Right.
The way he was singing, the way he was moving, the way he was dancing, it had that. I don't want to use the word aggressive, but it was a more like aggressive type of dance and singing. He's like, yo, and the comment was, it was almost like it felt almost like the birth of punk rock. Would you guys agree with that statement that Elvis had certain influence in punk rock, or no? Like
That's
no
no,
relation.
I would say it did because the everything like starts that's rock and roll. Everything comes from rockabilly and evolves, right? So there's a lot of rockabilly influence, especially in Ramones. Like that's basically just
Ramones.
rockabilly songs played worse.
Cool.
That's really what it
But
was.
I was wouldn't you say or you agree, Ian? Because I have to come clean. I'm pretty much a poser when it comes to punk because I don't really live. I like the music and I play it, but I don't really embody the lifestyle.
Oh, it's a
But
lifestyle
of
then.
Oh
course,
It's
yeah,
like a whole
yeah, yeah,
culture
it's a
behind
culture.
it.
Yeah, it's a
Kind of like hip
subculture.
hop, right? And rap,
sure,
and
sure.
Sure.
that's cool, man.
But what I was gonna say, like Elvis was very disruptive in his time. Like for whatever reasons, whether girls went crazy, but a lot of the community was not down with his moves because they represented something that the communities did not look at
Right.
kindly. And so he was a little bit of counterculture in that sense, and maybe that is in a way like something akin to what punk rock does when it hits the scene
That's
historically.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the point of the whole genre is to not do what people want you to do. It's to be rebellious. And so yeah, what you're saying, that makes a lot of sense. I
Right.
can see that. Um
Do you think every type of music needs to like necessarily needs to have some sort of like uh criticism, or a like how can I say, like between the lines, how do you say it? Not between the lines,
The subtext?
like a subtext that represents a criticism, or a rebellious, or a critic to a political view, or a cultural view, or a social view. Do you think that necessarily music needs to have that subtext, or needs to serve that purpose, or can you just make music for the sake of making music? Because I heard a phrase one time that art without protest or criticism, or a political view, it's not really art. That's the purpose of art. And I don't know if I agree with that statement.
But would you
What
say
do you
that
guys
art
think?
without meaning
Not
is
meaning necessarily, but with that, let's say criticism, or rebellious, or revolt, like subtext, like you need
yeah.
to make music in order to protest against something that is happening in the social political context. I don't know if I make myself
no,
clear.
yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. I think anytime you do something different, there's going to be some pushback artistically,
Right.
right? No matter what it is. It could be music or theater, whatever, any
Right.
art, paintings, anything. Anytime you do something people are not familiar with, they're not going to respond well to it at first. No one ever hears something totally different and be like, "Oh, I like this," because it's unfamiliar. People like some
Hmm.
sort of familiar sense. But in order to keep everything from being the same over and over, you have to try to start pushing the boundaries, try to make it different.
Right.
So I kind of agree with that quote.
Do you think when making your lyrics, do you always like try to find a political scope, or something you don't agree with, or something that you would like to bring to light, or do you feel like that your motivations when you're making lyrics are usually from like a protest point of view, or because you want to somehow push a message to 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 make some changes somehow in people's point of views, or like politically or socially?
So that's a cool question. The difference between punk rock and other like pop music is, and it's changed a bit in recent years, but it's usually love songs,
Right.
very very accessible to everybody, right? Not trying to make any enemies, like just like
Codename popular.
yeah, the human experience that everyone can relate to. Punk is yeah, I want to write things that are specifically my point of view,
Right.
and it's not it's not for everyone to consume. Not everyone's going to agree with me.
Yeah, not everybody hates Apple.
Not everyone. Yeah. But they should.
Apple, like the company, Apple.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm
I'm
gonna
assuming you
drop
have an Android. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
during
Yeah.
this conversation. I'm gonna drop like these Easter eggs that relate to lyrics that he wrote.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be jokes that people are just gonna. Why did he say that?
Yeah.
But maybe we'll
Check
put a
out,
little link.
check out
We'll
Get Out
put a
on
link to
Spotify.
each
You'll
song or
understand
whatever.
what Luis
Yeah.
is talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but not everyone hates Apple, but everyone does hate BMW drivers, which we do have a song about. That's
BMW
just
drivers,
just a
bro.
fact. Just a fact.
Undisputed?
That's funny because
Yeah.
I've had some bad experiences with BMW drivers.
You know, you definitely have,
Especially in LA.
more so than any other car. I've done the research.
Oh,
I drive in
gosh.
Los Angeles quite a bit, and it's the worst offenders always BMW drivers. There's
Oh man, you're gonna be canceled for that.
Couldn't it be
Uh,
a type of confirmation bias where you start seeing BMWs doing bad things all the time and you kind of ignore all the other bad things that other people do?
the go back to the first part. I see people driving BMWs doing bad things all the time. Other cars also can drive normally,
Right.
but
That's
BMWs don't seem capable. So, yeah. So like, I'm trying to think of the songs that I write that aren't like, maybe someone's gonna take a reverse opinion to. The song "All My Socks Are Green." I don't think anyone can argue with that.
Yeah.
It was
that's
a
pretty-
story. I just tell stories of what happened sometimes,
Okay.
right? A lot of songs try, and maybe the difference in the punk rock lyric is that you can be very direct, and you can talk about something as ridiculous as that story where one time I washed my white socks with my green bed sheet.
You
This
got
is
green
true,
socks.
yeah. Thus turning all
story,
my
bro.
socks green. And I wrote a 30-second song called "All My Socks Are Green."
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. So you see, there's not really a message there. It's just
No
you
message.
telling
No,
a
it's an
story.
information.
it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
warning maybe a
Public
warning.
service announcement.
Yeah, and that's punk rock. I don't have to.
That's cool.
I can write a very weighted political song. I can
Right.
write a song about all my socks being green. I can do whatever I want. The freedom there is why I do this music. Why this is what I like to, the style I write in the most, where I want to aim my lyrics, because the freedom to write anything that I want to say
Right.
is there.
Express feelings, emotions, and tell stories.
Right.
Which kind of englobes all of it. But yeah, that's cool.
Right.
That's cool. So
Freedom
not
of
necessarily.
speech, First Amendment rights,
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
which brings us
Brings
into
us
the.
next
I'm all
segue.
for that. Yeah.
But to give my take on the question that you asked before, does all art have to be infused with some kind of political commentary or statement?
Yeah.
I kind of think in the same lines that Ian expressed.
You elaborate questions so much better than me. Thanks, man.
It's all good. It's always. I think it's a good.
Such an eloquent guy.
It's a good way
Refined gentleman.
to also feed the question back. I think there's some like debating techniques, or at least negotiating techniques, where you tell the problem back at the person to show
No, I
that
think
you
you
also
want to exert
understand.
power over me. That's
No,
what
it's
you're
just
trying
to
to
make
do.
sure that I'm not misrepresenting the question or giving a bad answer.
You're gonna do
to-
good at marriage counseling.
All right,
I hear you. I understand,
you.
but
but you're wrong. Wrong!
yeah.
This is the way.
That's nice.
So I feel like regardless of genre, like if you take a genre like classical music and if you look at the history of the composers, the great composers, they kind of like threw a wrench in what was done previously. So there's always a kind of analysis of the status quo, whatever it may be historically, and there's an attempt to either give a fresh take, like a new insight, a fresh direction that wasn't done before. And I'm not very knowledgeable in the history of classical music, for example, but it's hard to infuse, or not, maybe I'm saying this and I'm thinking it's not the most accurate thing to say, but to infuse politicalness into in a piece that is instrumental. Of course, that actually can be done. Now that I'm thinking about it, you can do it in many ways.
There's no lyrics.
It's more
you mean,
about
yeah.
telling a story through music,
Right.
and there's a narrative. And you have to be aware of it, and then you'll start recognizing it's, oh, this is this is that. But I think when you say that, I kind of hear that like when we're looking at a piece of sculpture, or a painting, and you say, do all paintings have to be about a political commentary? And that's maybe because eventually what you're portraying is sort of a picture of the world or interpretation of a picture of the world that can have and will definitely have meaning. There's very little things that you will look and is devoid of meaning. It's like, oh, this is beautiful. Even if you even if you look at sculptures like La Pietà, right? which is the Christ
La
dead
Pietà, yeah,
dead
the
in the mother's
Mary,
Mary's
yeah,
arms, right?
And we have an image.
Or even
I don't know.
Rodin, like the sculpture with the man, like those
thinking,
convey an emotion. Those convey a story, and of course the artsmanship and the craft is outstanding. And that's why these pieces have lasted, and they're
right?
kind of like the pinnacle of human expression in a way. But
David,
they
the statue of David, Michelangelo,
Michelangelo, yes,
the famous
exactly
one.
the famous.
That was
So
beautiful.
even if it's a note, it's sort of like there's definitely a before and after. I'm not sure if those pieces were repeated and it was just like a reiteration of something that used to be done. Either through craft or through idea. There's definitely a change and a pushing forward of whatever the established art was. And that's kind of like a problem that we see even maybe in pop music and in pop culture, where it becomes for the sake of I'm gonna call it more sureness in returns and investment. There are more safe decisions that are being made. So it's not really those types of products. They're commodified. They're formulaic. They don't try to reinvent. They try to bring some freshness because you can't remake a song, and there's always a new trend, either whether it's production techniques or a different sound.
I
There's a
feel like the
trendy
new trend
sound.
nowadays to signal virtue in songs.
The Is it? I don't know because I don't pay too much attention to those things, even though I should, because
I'm just
we have a
kidding.
woke
That
horse
was an
podcast.
extreme statement.
but but you know what I'm saying? Like you probably don't hear, depending on the genre, you don't hear a lot of social commentary because you don't want to
Right.
ruffle
Ruffle.
too
Feathers.
many feathers, and you want this to be palatable to the broader audience, because audience equals money, money, money. Skrilla.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. Um, yeah, pop music is a product, and whereas I find music to be more artistic.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you can have an art piece that sells very well that people really all respond to,
Like a
but
Banksy.
I think the farther you get away from the concept of we're making this song to appeal to as many people as possible, versus we're making this song because this is a very specific thing we want to talk about.
Right.
That's where you get into the realm of art versus product, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Agreed.
but I like the idea that you're not motivated, like that people are not motivated by just political like slash social ideas in order to create art. I don't feel like that should be the starting point of creating, of creation, especially in music, because I feel like it becomes just like protest, and it becomes like militants, and not really art. Is that a word, militants,
Yeah, I think
in
so.
English? Okay.
But Ian will correct me.
Sounds good to me.
But
I'll
yeah,
take it. I
okay.
knew what you
Because
meant.
I wanted to ask you because I heard that statement one time. I saw somebody. I think it was right after the Will Smith slap that kind of generated all
So-
Songs were
this.
Oh
sung
yeah.
about this
The
event.
the slap that ended the war in Ukraine, by the way. We stopped talking about that completely after the
Yeah,
slap. I was like, "Oh, war
exactly.
over."
And,
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Will.
At least the
And
the
thanks, Chris,
mainstream
for taking
media.
one for the team.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I think it was right after that. Like I saw this back and forth between two people on Instagram or something. Not Instagram, but on Twitter. I don't remember. Excuse me. But this girl made a post and she said, basically, art without politics or social meaning, it's not art. Like you need like she was saying that needs to be your motivation.
No,
You
I don't
you
agree
need
with
to
that.
use art for the sake of making changes in society or whatever. But I could tell that she was coming from a radical point of view, and she was,
How dare she?
yeah, how dare
Yeah,
you, girl?
I don't know if
I don't
that's
even know who you are, but how dare you?
I don't think the purpose of art is only that. I think there's also like an enjoyability element to it, right?
Exactly.
Where it's just like, I look at this bowl of fruits someone painted. That makes me feel nice. I don't think that's like saying, maybe the
Exactly.
artist meant to say something. Maybe I'm not getting that. I'm
Right,
just like,
right.
oh, nice fruits.
Juicy.
Well, a big
gonna
aspect
go
of art, I think,
eat
is
some
to
grapes.
convey an emotion. In fact, to control emotions. I remember, like in songwriting classes, it was all about conquering an emotion in the audience, manipulating, and that's what movies do. Music does that, and in a way, in an extension, any form of expression in art. It can be through movement. It can be, you can watch somebody move in such a way that is moving emotionally, for the person who's watching it, because they
Yeah.
might be telling a story that you can relate to, and that ties in with the point that that's kind of something that's very human that got captured in this piece of art, and whether that is reflective of a real situation, or a very common commonality that we have as humans, because we all experience the same range of emotions, and a lot of the stuff that we live here, it's lived similar halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And the struggles, they're all going to be different, but they're all going to be similar. We all want to, eat, be happy,
Poop.
have our basic needs sort of. We all have our ambitions. We all want to love. We all want to mate. We all want to do all these things, and that's very human. So anything that kind of taps into this
Natural law.
kind Here we go. Count one for natural law for the episode.
Because it's funny because we have all these kind of slogans that we kind of always
Buzzwords, the buzzwords
toss
that
at
we
each
use.
other, the buzzwords, and
You gotta make a
I think
graphic that goes
I
along
know.
with it.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
flash
we,
it.
we gotta hire an editor if you're
because
free or cheap.
I think our very first
us
episode
up.
we had a back and forth about like nature versus nurture
Yeah, and laws of nature versus laws of man.
versus social construct.
It's a recurring
kind of
topic here
idea.
at the
But anyways, yeah.
podcast. Anyway, let us know what you think about the purpose and the message of art and the function of art in society and in the world.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment.
What's up, Warriors? Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to hit that like button. We invite you to join the conversation by dropping a comment down below. And if you want to watch more videos like this, go ahead and click the links on the screen. We are now posting once a week, every Wednesday, so hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out. And we'll see you on the next one.